In a tiny town, hidden away in the beautiful British countryside, there lived a little girl called Nelly. She was a bit shy and had long brown hair that she tied in plaits. And if you've heard of Nelly before, you'll know that she lived with her grandmother, Nanny, who was always forgetting something. But perhaps you didn't know that Nelly's town was near the sea. Just a bike ride away from Nelly's town was a tiny beach. There was a hidden away cove with grassy fields all around. The beach was sandy and dotted with big grey rocks. In the summer, the sea was a bright, clear blue. In the winter, it was a cloudy grey. It was on one beautiful summer's day that our story takes place. Nanny and Nelly were sitting together on the tiny beach. Nanny had brought a basket of food and her picnic blanket. It felt soft and comfortable beneath them. The sea was calm and smooth today. The sky was bright blue and dotted with little white, fluffy clouds. Nanny was lying on her back. Her hair was covered by a light blue hat, and she wore bright orange sunglasses and a matching swimsuit. Nelly's hair was wet because she had just been swimming. She was sitting on the blanket with her feet in the sand. The grains of sand felt so good between her toes. She kept scrunching up her feet and stretching them back out. And she was listening to the sound of the calm waves against the shore. Nelly reached over and picked out a cucumber sandwich from the picnic basket. She sank her teeth into it. The cool, crunchy cucumber was so refreshing in between the soft slices of white bread and thin layer of cream cheese. Nelly sighed happily as she ate it. It was truly a perfect, peaceful day. Suddenly, Nanny gasped and sat up straight. She had forgotten that the giants were coming for jelly. Nanny leapt to her feet and started putting all of the food back into the basket. Sandwiches, cheese, apples, and fizzy water all went inside. Nelly didn't know exactly what Nanny meant by giants, but she was used to Nanny forgetting to do things. So Nelly jumped up off the blanket, and together they bundled it up. Nanny put on her polka dot skirt. She was in such a hurry that she almost put it on backwards. Then she pulled on her special summer blouse. Nelly wriggled into her pink summer dress and slipped on her sandals. Then they hurried up the beach towards the big and small bicycles that were parked at the edge of the sand. Nanny's bicycle was lilac and had a large woven basket on the front and a special holder on the back. She put the picnic basket in the holder and got onto the bike. Nelly's bicycle was much smaller, and it was bright cherry red. It had a round, shiny bell and a small white plastic basket on the front. She got onto her bike, looked at Nanny, and together they started to cycle. The road from the beach was narrow and sandy, but they could still ride side by side. The flat, open countryside stretched out all around them. Right ahead of them, in the distance, was a dip in the land, and in the dip was Nelly's town. She knew it was her town because she could see the flag that fluttered on top of the church spire. As they cycled, the countryside slipped by. Nelly could see the afternoon sun glowing through the fields of wheat. In the cows' pastures, it shone through every blade of grass, making them light up bright green. The path widened, and soon they were cycling on a proper road. It felt smooth compared to the sandy, wiggly path to the beach. Nanny stopped her bicycle, and Nelly did the same. They had paused outside a large farm gate that had been placed in between two tall hedges. Behind it was a lovely old farmhouse. Right next to the gate was a sign that said, "Fresh strawberries for sale." Nanny slid off her bike and called out to the people who lived at the farmhouse. The front door opened, and a tall woman with brown hair came walking towards them. She was wearing a blue dress that fluttered in the light breeze. Nanny told her that she wanted to buy all of the strawberries they had. The woman looked surprised, but Nanny explained that it was for a special party. 10 minutes later, Nanny and Nelly were cycling again. Nanny's front basket was so full of boxes of strawberries that she had to sit very straight to be able to see over the top of them. Nelly even had a stack of them in her front basket too. Together, they cycled very steadily and carefully back home. By the time they reached the front door, the sun was already starting to go down. But Nanny didn't seem worried. Together, they carried all of the strawberries into the kitchen. When the last box of strawberries had been put down, Nanny hurried to the cupboard under the stairs. She started to pull out all kinds of things: cleaning supplies, the Christmas decorations, several boxes of crackers, and even a barbecue. But at last, she found what she was looking for: the paddling pool. Nanny and Nelly hurried into the garden to set it up. But Nelly was confused. Nanny explained that the paddling pool was the only thing big enough to make jelly for giants. Then she took out every saucepan she owned and filled them with fresh water. Very carefully, Nanny and Nelly boiled the water on the stove. Nelly loved to watch the little bubbles form and then rise through the hot water, only to burst and break on the surface. When the water had boiled, Nanny carried it to the paddling pool and poured it in. At the same time, Nelly poured in a pot of cold water. When the pool was full of water, Nanny took out her jelly mixture and gave Nelly the biggest ladle she had ever seen. Nanny emptied all of the jelly mixture into the pool. Nelly took the ladle and stirred the mixture. It swirled and swirled all around the paddling pool. It was pale pink and smelt like strawberries. Nanny took out her old wooden spoon and started to stir as well. The sun sank lower in the sky. The warm summer air turned cooler and cooler, but they kept on stirring. The mixture started to become thicker and shinier. Finally, the sun had set. Nanny stopped stirring and sat down on the grass. It was time to add the strawberries. Together, Nanny and Nelly washed all the strawberries and carried them out into the garden. They turned on the fairy lights. Nanny lit candles as well. Then they picked off the green leafy tops of the strawberries and, one by one, dropped the berries into the pool. The strawberries made a gentle plopping sound each time they hit the water. Plop, plop, plop. Nelly loved to listen to their sound. When all the strawberries had been dropped into the pool, Nanny covered it with a bed sheet and sat back down on the grass. Nelly joined her. The grass felt cool and springy underneath them. She was tired from making so much jelly, but excited to see what would happen next. She wondered when the giants would arrive. Nanny explained that giants only come out at night when the sun isn't up. That way, anyone who isn't ready to see a giant won't get upset or afraid. Hopefully, they would come once the jelly was set, she said. Nanny laid back on the grass, and Nelly did the same. Together, they waited. The night was peaceful. Nelly didn't know how many hours they lay there. The sky was clear, and every star could be seen. They told each other stories and finished the picnic left over from the beach. From time to time, Nanny would check the paddling pool to see if the jelly was set. Nelly felt very happy that night, spending time with Nanny, but she had to admit she was feeling very sleepy. Then, just when Nelly thought she couldn't stay awake any longer, there was a strange, slow thumping sound. Nanny smiled. Together, they sat up. The giants were arriving. Nanny got to her feet and looked towards the bushes and trees at the end of her garden. Nelly stood next to her and waited. Soon, a big friendly face appeared in between the branches of the trees. The giant was about 3 times the height of Nanny. He had curly blonde hair and twinkling green eyes. His clothes seemed to be made of leaves and rocks. When he saw Nanny, he let out a deep, happy laugh. Nanny smiled as they greeted each other. Then, another lady giant appeared. She was a bit smaller than the first giant, but she still had the same happy, kind face. Nelly thought they both seemed so friendly. As the giants came to sit in the garden, Nanny explained that their job was to look after all of the forests and nature. They kept the trees clean and healthy, the ground muddy and even, and they made sure that all the animals were safe and happy. Nanny uncovered the paddling pool. The giants clapped their hands in delight. Strawberry jelly was their favorite, and now it was perfectly set. Nanny served up big buckets of jelly for the giants and small platefuls for her and Nelly. It wobbled and quivered, and inside, the strawberries floated like stars in the sky. Together, they all sat, and they ate, talked, and laughed, until finally, Nelly was so tired and so full of jelly that her plate slipped out of her fingers and fell to the ground with a tinkle. The giants knew it was time to go. They thanked Nanny and Nelly with big smiles on their faces, and then disappeared back into the trees. Nanny helped Nelly out of the garden and into the house. They wandered upstairs, and Nanny helped Nelly climb into bed. The little girl was so tired that she could hardly keep her eyes open. She sank into her mattress with a soft sigh. Nanny tucked her bed covers around her and kissed Nelly on the forehead. Nelly felt herself sinking deeper and deeper into the bed. Her body felt warm and heavy. Her breathing was quiet and soft. Before she knew it, she had gently drifted into a wonderful, deep and relaxing sleep, filled with dreams about strawberries and beaches and giants with curly blonde hair.